Hi, my name is Will Janetta. In January of 2019, 7 improvisers, including myself, performed a 24-hour monoscene at the Mess+Finesse theater space in Somerville, Massachusetts. That's one continuous improvised scene that lasted for 24 hours. We had a small rotating audience and streamed the event online, although it was not successfully recorded to video. The only hard rules were that at least one member of our core 7-person cast must be on stage at all times, and that the fundamental scene and location would not change. As far as background information, I should note that going into this I was sick with a bad cough, that it was very cold in that basement, and that we were expecting up to 2 feet of snow that night. Throughout those 24 hours, I kept a journal whenever I wasn't on stage, and this is that journal. The 24-hour monoscene, a journal. Part 1, the beginning. 22 hours and 41 minutes remain. It has begun. The suggestion was a location of a fancy hotel lobby, specifically the Tip Top, which we were told is the setting from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Our characters are a young dating couple testing the waters with a hotel date, a well-off upper-class couple, the founders of the Wayfair Company and its primary beneficiaries, the uptight hotel manager, Francois, the bumbling paranoid groundskeeper, Neil, that was me, and an ancient and entitled penthouse resident, Mrs. Butterfield. So far, an hour and a half or so has passed, and altogether things feel good. We've had a handful of audience members present, laughter's intermittent and genuine. We presently have our first guest performer, Kate Hopkins, on stage, who's provided some very welcome and colorful character weirdness. She walked into the hotel lobby and demanded a full roast beef dinner. Other established information is that the basement of the hotel is filled with secret riches, there's a skunk ape loose, and Francois is in danger of the hotel going under. Sick-wise, I feel fine so far. An inaugural shot of Jägermeister from a leftover New Year's Eve booze cache is making good on its ancient medicinal utility. Part 2, burning down the house. 21 hours and 6 minutes remain. Our guests have been spectacular and energetic. Matt McMahon and Kenny just got done using the 2 doors in a Keystone Cop. Where's Francois? Where's Thaddeus? Run around. It was amazing. My character, convinced that the sex-crazed inhabitants have become infected with skunk ape virus, has threatened to burn down the hotel and all of its Nazi gold. 21 hours remain, the booze is taking hold, and I feel fine. Part 3, into the night. 19 hours and 35 minutes remain. The guests are providing ample episodic segments that are hugely helpful. Ian is currently spearheading a detective investigation into a murder that happened at a Wendy's next door. Pat Kernan and Ben Gibb are now playing maybe German ex-Nazi twins who have a diamond statue in the basement. Kenny just leaned over and whispered to me, "We need to do a scene entirely in fake languages." Pat just yelled, "Don't touch my brother's papusa." The audience just erupted at something I didn't see. The skunk ape is now Kenny's son, and we're feeding the dead detective to it. If ever there were a Rubicon of groundedness, we may be crossing it now. Part 4, ups and downs. 17 hours and 13 minutes remain. I hit a major energy dip an hour or so ago. Plenty was happening on stage, but my brain began to short out and not have any ideas of ways to contribute. I eventually walked on to let Ben Walsh know that his refrigerator truck was being ravaged by a skunk ape, and then I had an extended conversation with Christina and Moira about encouraging pedophiles. I don't remember what that's about. I think I had a lovely extended scene with Ben in which he fed me food samples that I was allergic to, which merged into a long talky discussion with Sumit and Devin about pharmaceuticals the audience seemed to really enjoy. I just went to the bathroom and took some NyQuil, just stared into Kenny and Caitlin's eyes, and we realized we've been doing this for 7 hours. Onwards and upwards, hail Satan. Part 5, steam. 16 hours and 3 minutes remain. I'm starting to lose steam. I just laid down for the first time on an air mattress for like 5 minutes. I don't want to write anything, and I don't have anything interesting to say. Mina's being very funny, talking about how she keeps her children like dogs and her mother forces her to knit. We are 4 hours away from being halfway done. My cough persists. I might drink more Dayquil. I've never thought skunk apes would remain so central to this story, but I should not have underestimated their ability to captivate the human mind. Part 6. It's still happening. 14 hours and 22 minutes remain. The guests are a blessing. Stacy, Nate, and Rhett are playing 3 Georgian triplet airline hostesses who want to be adopted and took to the skies because their parents left them. I laid down for a little longer. Caroline is sleeping, and I closed my eyes for a few minutes. We're still 2.5 hours away from being halfway done. I don't have a good sense of my character or what he's supposed to do right now. The last thing I did was announce that there's a basilisk on the loose. Part 7, the darkness. 13 hours and 11 minutes remain. We talked about the rules to Yahtzee for like a half hour. Kenny yelled in a Cockney accent for a while and then got self-conscious about it. Caroline just said, "My entire family died of a pig disease," and Kenny and I are cry-laughing backstage. Caitlin just said that Caroline is carrying a half-human skunk-ape hybrid in her womb. My head hurts and I'm still coughing. I just went to the bathroom and saw a window for the first time in a while. There's about 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it's still coming down. Part 8. Pain. 12 hours and 31 minutes remain. My head hurts, so I took an Advil. I've been sitting backstage with a face mask over my eyes. Jess and Hacker played a song called Dick Master. Kenny broke a bottle. Part 9. Quiet. 10 hours and 31 minutes remain. It's gotten quiet. I laid on the floor with my coat hood pulled up over my head for a bit, and may have reached the edge of sleep. I went on stage with a sleeping mask and my hood up to announce that I had slain the basilisk, and then pimped Mo into naming her 85 cats. Right now, Caroline and Samit are doing a very grounded conversational scene that's probably ultimately some of the better grounded improv we've done. Most of the audience is understandably not here. The parking lot has been plowed. Mike Traynor just arrived and took the stage. He looked around the lobby and announced, "This is nice!" to much laughter. Part 10. Dawn. 9 hours and 11 minutes remain. It's beginning to get light out. Mo and Lovett are on stage and having an old lady, young boy discussion about education and world travel. Zanfrelli's on deck. I'm starting to burp up burny liquid that is likely the result of what happens when you drink Dayquil and Jägermeister for a while. I think we have 9 hours left, but the hour math really has been fucking with me. It's cold and I want to lay down. Part 11. Sleep and the time loop. 5 hours and 25 minutes remain. I managed to get a form of sleep for a few hours, but I could continuously hear the show happening. Kenny woke me up with an urgency I don't know I've ever heard in his voice before. "Will, I'm sorry to wake you, but we need you to do something. You need to close the time loop." I understood and went to piss before undertaking this task. Caroline and Caitlin arrived with coffee, and I just heard there's burritos out back that I'm gonna go investigate. I just did around 15 minutes on stage that I don't remember. 5.5 hours left. Part 12. Light. 4 hours and 23 minutes remain. We have entered the conceptual and mythological weeds. I introduced a dream-eating dolphin, and some children became dolphins, and Mrs. Butterfield continues to control the dolphins, and Hugh is Somerville Cheech from the year 4000 and told us not to catch the dream dolphin to avert the skunk ape planet of the skunk apes. The sun is coming up and we have 4.5 hours left. Part 13. Frayed. 3 hours and 46 minutes remain. The lore is now completely bananas. Lisa Frank is here. We stole her drawings for a marketing stunt. Wayfair and Overstock are competing. The orphan Harold is going to be adopted or something. I don't know that these plot lines can be resolved without a hard reboot. Trying to find a way to return to game-based comedy play as we are now largely narrative. The end is in sight though. Part 14. Upwards. 2 hours and 43 minutes remain. The insanity broke for a moment. We birthed 3 dream dolphins and 3 men from different times appeared, demanding the dolphins be brought back to their own times. One of them was kidnapped and the men left. There was then a Zumba class or something. I then had a nice long 2-person conversation with Lovett's Harold character about being a child and having to make choices in life. We then cleaned up the dolphin placenta and Thai food from the floor and remarked on what a slow day it was. And then Melendez showed up as a spider lady with egg children in the basement. We opened it back up and Kenny and I did cocaine and ordered the Matrix that we had commissioned earlier again. I don't know what that means now. Things have cleared up and there's an audience and they're laughing. We're closer than we've ever been to the end and I feel good, minus some occasional coughing. Part 15. The Savior is Born. 1 hour and 53 minutes remain. Priya arrives as the Dream Dolphin, savior of humanity. I feel like all I'm doing is recapping and calling back to 17-hour-old references. Did I mention Aziz Ansari showed up and a future Seinfeld, future Kramer showed up to take him to the future? I can't remember where that happened now, but Devin did a cool thing where Jerry and Kramer didn't want a George and he identified as a George, and it was a cool take on absolute nonsense. I don't know what happened with that sentence. We are less than 2 hours away and I can see the light. Need to stay hydrated. Part 16. Endgame. 46 minutes remain. We decided it was Kenny's birthday and we sang happy birthday and did the Are You 1, Are You 2 up through 158, and I had tears in my eyes the entire time. The guests are gone, the scene is slowed down. I continue to blather esoteric technicalities out of my mouth and sometimes garner laughs. I've lost track of all narrative threads. Mrs. Butterfield is dead and will lie on stage there probably for at least an hour. My character is technically the owner of the hotel now, but has vowed to make no changes. This has been madness, and the fact that it's been happening for so long is crazy. 45 minutes remain. Kenny just killed Carson. Part 17. The end. We did it. I really don't have anything to say right now. I'm relieved that it's over, but don't feel as bad as I thought I would. It was definitely a surmountable task in the fashion that we did it, but it's still crazy to think that the same scene happened continuously for that long. I'm glad I did it.